Just as the women were discussing Kelly's claim, someone raised her head and saw a person walking nearby. It was Kelly.
Hey, look, isn't that Kelly? Let's ask her if Master Mark really is her brother-in-law. Then we'll know for sure.
So, those women rushed up and surrounded Kelly. They all spoke at once.
Hey, Kelly, is this Master Mark really your brother-in-law? Or are you just saying that to get attention?
Kelly felt helpless because there were always students surrounding her these days to ask if Master Mark was her brother-in-law. But, to be honest, she also felt very proud because Mark was now a famous person at the university, and he was even rumored to be a god. Because he was her brother-in-law, her classmates all looked at her with admiration and envy, which made her very happy. More importantly, President Winchester had found her this morning and said that there was an exchange student program going to Mauritius. He hoped that she could go. Kelly almost jumped off the building in excitement when she heard this. Mauritius was the country she had always dreamed of visiting, and it would be great to be able to go as an exchange student. But there were only 2 exchange student places available in the school. Competition for them was fierce, so she never thought she'd be picked. She never thought that such a wonderful opportunity would actually come her way. President Winchester didn't beat about the bush. He said, "Kelly, the 2 spots for exchange students were decided earlier, and as you know, you weren't chosen this semester. But your brother-in-law, Mark, is a truly admirable person. As the president, I'm extremely grateful that he saved our students. I've been trying to think of a way to thank him, and I've decided to give you one of the exchange student places as a form of repayment to him." President Winchester chuckled. "Kelly, you have benefited from Master Mark's skills again. You should cherish this opportunity. I hope the next time you will qualify for the exchange student program on your own merits. I believe that you can do it." Only then did Kelly understand what was going on, but she was still very excited. It was her dream to go to Mauritius, but she never expected that Mark would help her realize it. So Kelly was in a very good mood these days. When she walked around the university campus, many people looked at her enviously. And now, again, women were surrounding her to ask about her brother-in-law. Kelly deliberately coughed twice, cleared her throat, and said, "You guys want to know about Master Mark? Then you've come to the right person, because Master Mark is my brother-in-law, my real brother-in-law." "Wow, really?" one of the women said. "Why are you so lucky? How come you get to have such an awesome brother-in-law? Oh, right. If he's so great, why were you always telling us that he was a good-for-nothing?" Kelly interrupted the woman. "I only said that so he could keep a low profile. That ship sailed, so I might as well tell you guys. He's my brother-in-law, and my brother-in-law is not a useless person. He's a very powerful person. He is Master Mark." The woman said, "Then tell us quickly, what kind of person is Master Mark? How old is he? Is he very handsome? Is he as built as he looks in the forum pictures? What kind of women does he like? What hobbies does he have?" Under the envious gazes of the students, Kelly felt like a princess surrounded by admirers. She cleared her throat and began to speak. "About Master Mark. Listen carefully." Just as Kelly was excitedly and proudly telling the women about Mark, a cold voice interrupted. "A few days ago, you said Master Mark was a loser. You had a bad attitude toward him, but now you see how capable he is. You're shamelessly basking in his glory. He changed from a useless person to a brother-in-law just like that?" Kelly looked up and saw a gorgeous woman standing nearby, looking at her with a mocking expression. That woman was none other than one of the 2 campus belles at LAU, Amanda Quirk. Seeing Amanda, Kelly immediately became angry. She remembered that the last time she was at Green Lake, Amanda had claimed that she and Mark were lovers. When she thought of this, Kelly's violent temper immediately rose. She pushed the women surrounding her away and took a step forward, planting her hands on her hips.
What did you just say?
Amanda said, I said you're shameless. When Mark didn't have his abilities, you kept saying that he was a good-for-nothing. But since you saw that he is capable, you started calling him brother-in-law. You even took advantage of his reputation to gain respect and admiration from the other students. You're pathetic and shameless.
What does it have to do with you?
Kelly said angrily.
Mark is part of my family. It's not your place to say anything to or about him. Who do you think you are? I know, you're jealous because I have a good brother-in-law and you don't. Mark is my brother-in-law, not yours, so go ahead and be jealous.
Amanda lowered her head and smiled. When she lifted it again, a trace of provocation danced about her mouth. She continued, It's true that Mark's your brother-in-law now, but he won't always be your brother-in-law. Kelly was stunned when she heard this.
What do you mean?
Amanda said,
Mark has no status in your family, and your whole family treats him like a loser. Your family sees him as a burden. But really, your family isn't worthy of him. You especially. You're not worthy of being Mark's sister-in-law. He won't want to stay in your family much longer. He'll choose to leave sooner or later. What right do you have to say that Mark will leave? My sister has a good relationship with him. As long as they don't divorce, Mark won't leave, Kelly said.
Amanda smirked. Hey, is that so? Are they really on good terms?
How good? I'm afraid you're lying to yourself. A charming man like Master Mark will never lack women. He can have whoever he wants, and he can leave whenever he wants.
Kelly narrowed her eyes and sized Amanda up. Then she said,
Amanda, what is the relationship between you and Mark? I think you're trying to make up a story to lure him away and make Mark and my sister divorce. You're just a shameless vixen trying to make trouble.
Amanda laughed loudly. Oh, if I can hook Master Mark, then I'm happy to be a vixen.
You're shameless. So you admit that you're chasing him? Stop dreaming. Mark only loves my sister and won't look at other women, Kelly said.
Hey, is that so? We'll see. As she spoke, Amanda took her phone out of her pocket and deliberately waved it in front of Kelly. Kelly asked angrily,
What are you doing?
Amanda said,
Calling Mark, of course.
Kelly's expression immediately changed.
You want to call my brother-in-law? What right do you have to call him?
Amanda smirked again. Didn't you say that I'm a vixen and want to lure him? All right, then I'll let you watch me do it.
Stop dreaming. Mark won't answer your call. He only loves my sister, Kelly insisted.
Then let's give it a try and see what happens. As Amanda spoke, she dialed a phone number. Then she pressed the hands-free button. Soon, a man's voice came from her phone.
Hello?
Hey, Master Mark. It's me, Amanda. Are you busy now?
Amanda said. Kelly's expression changed again because she could hear Mark's voice.
Amanda, hi. Why are you looking for me?
Mark said.
Oh, no reason,
Amanda said coyly.
I just wanted to ask you out for a meal. How about this afternoon?
Amanda deliberately used a seductive tone to speak to Mark. She even glanced at Kelly from time to time. This made Kelly angry. Amanda really was a vixen. She actually called Mark and invited him out for a meal. This was a blatant provocation.
Master Mark, I'll wait for you in the Western restaurant near LAU at noon. You must come. I have something important to tell you. As for what it is, you'll know when you come," Amanda continued.
Mark, on the other end of the line, wanted to refuse because he really didn't know Amanda. He'd only met her once, but then he thought of Amanda's evergreen physique, a rare enhancement physique that happened only once in 1,000 years. If this woman could walk the path of enhancement, she had a bright future. In short, someone who possessed the evergreen physique was definitely not an ordinary person. Mark subconsciously felt like he needed a friend, so after thinking about it for a while, he agreed.
All right then. I'll see you at noon in the Western restaurant,
Mark said.
"All right, Master Mark. We'll see each other this afternoon. Looking forward to it."
After saying that, Amanda elegantly hung up the phone. Then she waved her phone in front of Kelly again.
"How's that? You heard it all. I've made a date to have lunch with Master Mark. As I said, just because he's your brother-in-law now doesn't mean he'll be your brother-in-law forever. Don't be too confident."
Finishing, Amanda turned around and left. Kelly looked at her departing back and was filled with anger.
"Vixen, you are making up stories to lure my brother-in-law. You are shameless."
The next afternoon, Mark asked Marcy out. The two of them sat down in a quiet booth at an elegant coffee shop. Mark got straight to the point. "Marcy, I found out about the poison used on your grandfather."
"Really? So fast?"
Marcy was surprised because the person who poisoned her grandfather was definitely not an ordinary person. She didn't expect Mr. Johnson to find information so quickly.
"Who on earth dared to poison my grandfather?"
Marcy asked. Mark didn't answer immediately. He hesitated and then said carefully, "Marcy, I can tell you who this person is, but you must remain calm. To be honest, it surprised me." He took a deep breath. "Marcy, the person who poisoned your grandfather was none other than your Uncle Bob." Mark had been thinking about whether he should tell Marcy about this before coming here. He had never imagined that the person who poisoned Red Green would be his own son, Bob. The first time Mark saw Bob, on the surface, he seemed to have a good relationship with his father. Furthermore, Bob didn't hesitate to spend a large sum of money on a group of medical experts to treat the old man's illness. These doctors had been doing all they could to find a cure for Red. Now that Mark thought about it, he realized it had all been done to deflect and distract attention from what Bob was really up to. Mark was worried that after Marcy knew the truth, she would start looking for her Uncle Bob and settling the score. That would be a huge battle between uncle and niece. Bob was an adult with a lot of experience and a cunning attitude. Marcy was young and decent, so she was very likely not his match. But if he didn't tell Marcy, Mark was worried that Bob would attack his father again. After a lot of thought, he felt that he needed to tell Marcy the truth. After hearing Mark's words, Marcy was indeed very shocked. In fact, she was completely stunned.
"Mr. Johnson, what did you say? The person who poisoned Grandpa was Uncle Bob."
Obviously, Marcy found it hard to believe. Mark nodded seriously. "I know this is very hard to believe, but Jack said it himself. Besides, I've already asked Zachariah Zeus to check it out. That kind of poison is indeed only available in the Fire Voodoo cult. Jack was a member of the Fire Voodoo cult, and he had access to this kind of poison. But he had no bone to pick with your grandfather, so he wouldn't do anything to him. It was your Uncle Bob who bought the poison from him, and then used it on your grandfather." Marcy opened her mouth to say something, but no words came out. After a long time, she sighed gently.
I really didn't expect it to be Uncle Bob, Marcy said. Mr. Johnson, to tell you the truth, ever since I found out that Grandpa was poisoned, I've been thinking about who could have done it. I thought it might be our family's competitor, the Lamb family, or some other of our family's business rivals, or even some personal enemy of my grandfather's from years ago. But I never thought that the person who poisoned Grandpa would be my own Uncle Bob.
Marcy shook her head in confusion.
But why? My grandfather is Uncle Bob's father, and between the two sons, Grandpa doted on him the most. So why would Uncle Bob do such a thing?
Marcy seemed very depressed. If someone else had poisoned her grandfather, it would be easier to deal with. But Uncle Bob, she didn't know what to do with that. Mark could totally understand Marcy's feelings. Marcy, don't be too sad, Mark said. You have to accept the truth that your Uncle Bob is the culprit who poisoned your grandfather. Why he did it, we don't know. But I wanted you to know so you can be prepared. He wanted to kill your grandfather, but now your grandfather has fully recovered. I'm afraid Bob won't want to accept this and will likely attack Red again. Also, if Bob is able to kill his own father, it's likely that he will also attack you. You have to be careful. Also, I suggest that you don't say anything to Bob yet, and don't tell your grandfather about this matter yet either. I'm afraid that if this comes out, you will be in a very dangerous position. I'm also afraid that Bob might get desperate and do something unexpected. Marcy nodded after careful consideration.
Mr. Johnson, thank you for the information. I won't tell Grandpa about this. I'm afraid he won't be able to accept it. You have to know that Uncle Bob is his most beloved son. But
Marcy took a deep breath.
But I won't let this matter rest. He is so ambitious that he actually dared to hurt his own father. I want to see what else he will do. Luckily, you helped me find out about this. Otherwise, I would have stayed in the dark. I'm afraid that Bob is going to try and kill the whole family.
Marcy, this matter is a family conflict. As an outsider, I can't get involved. But if there is anything you need my help with, just let me know, Mark said.
Thank you.
Marcy expressed her gratitude from the bottom of her heart.
Mr. Johnson, don't worry. I'm not a reckless person. I'll be careful. If I'm not confident and the timing is not right, I won't tackle my uncle.
Although Marcy was young, she was steady and meticulous, very different from most people her age. Mark felt relieved.
Mr. Johnson, thank you for helping me investigate this matter. In order to express my gratitude, I have something to give you.
As Marcy spoke, she took something out of her exquisite handbag. It was a USB, the size of an index finger. What is this? Mark asked.
There are some videos of Sean on this USB drive,
Marcy said. What? Videos of Sean? Why? Mark didn't understand Marcy's intentions. Marcy smiled and said mysteriously,
This is not an ordinary video. It is a very secret video. You'll understand after you finish looking at it. As for why I'm giving it to you, it's because this person is your rival.
When Marcy and Mark were eating at the restaurant last time, they happened to bump into Sean and Nicole. Marcy had seen the altercation between Sean and Mark and saw that Sean was obviously trying to snatch Mark's wife.
Rivals in love are enemies, Marcy continued. Sean is your enemy, so he's also my enemy. I sent my family's secret agents to spend a week following him. That's how I got the secret video. Mr. Johnson, after you finish looking at it, you will understand what kind of abnormal pervert the wonderful Sean is.
Abnormal? Mark frowned. What was the information in the USB? Marcy actually used the word pervert to describe Sean.
Mr. Johnson, Sean is very rich and powerful. It would be best if we don't confront such a person head on. But with this USB drive, you could easily destroy him, Marcy said.
Is that so? Is the information on this USB so powerful? All right then, I'll take it. Mark put the USB into his pocket, and the two chatted for a while before bidding each other farewell. After returning home, Mark went into his bedroom, closed the door, and turned on the laptop. He inserted the USB into the computer and watched as the video played across the screen. After watching these scenes, Mark was stunned speechless. In the first image, Sean was on the beach kissing a foreign woman with blonde hair and blue eyes. The second scene was in a luxurious room. Sean was having sex with a different young woman with an excellent face and figure. It wasn't a big deal. After all, Sean was the young scion of a rich family. He was also very powerful and good-looking. He was a typical tall, rich, and handsome man. Such men never lacked women. It was not rare for a man like him to have multiple women by his side. It made Mark nauseous. Damn it, this Sean guy looked okay on the surface, but it turned out that he was actually a filthy person behind closed doors. Such a person actually dared to chase after Mark's wife. When he thought of the gentle and considerate appearance Sean put on in front of Nicole, Mark was disgusted. If Mark was a little disgusted by those first videos, then when he saw the last one, Mark was more than a little angry. The last video on the USB was extremely shocking. Sean was a pedophile. It was simply unbearable to look at. Damn it, Mark couldn't help but curse. Marcy was really awesome to be able to get these secret videos of Sean. No wonder she said that these videos were enough to destroy him. Mark turned off the video and pulled out the USB drive. He was thinking about whether he should give this USB to Nicole and let her see Sean's true colors. Nicole really thought of Sean as a refined man. If she saw the real Sean in the USB drive, what would she think? But Mark immediately decided that wasn't the right course of action. If he only let his wife see what was in the USB drive, it wouldn't cause Sean any harm. That would be too easy on him. No, Mark needed to think of a way to naturally show these videos to everyone so that they could see Sean for the pervert he was. Just as Mark was thinking about this, he heard the sound of high heels coming from the living room. He quickly put the USB into his pocket and stood up. Then the bedroom door opened and Nicole walked in. "Off work already?" Mark asked. Nicole didn't even look at him. She said simply, "No, I just needed to pick something up. I'm leaving immediately." Nicole walked to the desk and took out a folder from the drawer, then turned around and left. Mark followed her. "Nicole, you still need to get to the office. Let me go with you." The two of them walked out of the house, and Nicole said, "You don't need to come with me. I'll take a cab." "It's fine. I want to," Mark said. He went with Nicole through the neighborhood. Nicole stopped walking and looked coldly at Mark. "I said you don't need to come with me. You can go back." Mark suddenly realized that Nicole's attitude toward him had changed a lot. Could it be that he'd done something wrong to make this woman unhappy again? Mark searched his memory for what he might have done to offend his wife. Oh, right. It must be because of the time at the Western restaurant when he deliberately told Sean that Nicole was pregnant. "Honey, are you still mad at me because of what happened at the restaurant?" Mark said. Nicole said, I can't be bothered being angry anymore, Mark. We only have a little time left together, maybe only a few days, so I won't argue with you, and I won't waste my energy being angry. Mark was stunned. What do you mean, we only have a little time left? Nicole hesitated for a moment, and then said, It is not appropriate for us to be together. You know, it was because of my father's persistence that I married you, but it wasn't my choice. It's been 5 years, and I don't want to live like this anymore. Do you understand? Mark felt as if he'd been hit by a truck. He looked at Nicole in disbelief. What do you mean? Are you telling me you want a divorce? Nicole hurt inside when she saw the shock and disappointment in Mark's eyes, but she steeled her heart and said, That's right, I want a divorce. Mark shook his head. Impossible. You can't divorce me. Why not? Nicole became agitated and raised her voice. Why do you think I won't divorce you? Because you think I'm a soft-hearted person? Do you think I won't be able to bear going through with it? Do you think that I shouldn't divorce you? That I should continue to live a life that I don't want? Why? Why should I let others decide my life? As she spoke, Nicole's tears flowed out. 5 years ago, my father asked me to marry you. Although I was a little unwilling, I still listened to him and went through with it. Now 5 years have passed, and my father won't allow me to divorce you. In his eyes, my happiness is worthless. He never considered my feelings, and you have never considered my feelings either. If you cared for me at all, you wouldn't have been such a loser all this time. I thought you would change for me, work to improve yourself, so at least you wouldn't be mocked anymore. You wouldn't be called a loser anymore, but you didn't. It's been 5 years, and nothing's changed. It's like you don't want to improve. You're getting more and more useless by the day. I really can't take it anymore. Nicole sniffled. And my father, what right does he have to decide my life? The more he doesn't want me to divorce you, the more I want to. I want to tell him that my happiness can only be controlled by me, and no one has the right to control my actions. Mark was stunned. During their 5 years of marriage, Nicole would sometimes scold him for being a good-for-nothing and say that he didn't have any ambition. But she had never said that she wanted to divorce him before. Sometimes, when her mother urged Nicole to go for a divorce, she would even push back. And always, no matter how her mother and sister insulted and ridiculed him, Nicole had stood up for him. Because of this, Mark had always been very grateful to his wife. This was also one of the reasons why he loved Nicole deeply. Kindness. This woman was very kind. But now, Nicole had said such ruthless words to him. From her words, it seemed that she was determined to divorce him. So, you're determined to divorce me? Mark asked. Nicole wiped her tears and turned her head away. She didn't know why, but she felt very sad. She thought that when she mustered up her courage and said that she wanted to divorce Mark, she would feel happier. But she did not. What's happened to me? Nicole asked herself. I don't like him, do I? I've always wanted to divorce him, haven't I? Now that I finally mustered up my courage to make this decision and say these words, I should feel happy. So why am I so sad? When she'd seen Mark's disappointed look just now, her heart had felt like it was stabbed by needles. I'm sorry, I don't want to hurt you, but we are going to get a divorce in the end. Nicole's tone softened because she really didn't want to hurt Mark. Mark was also very sad. At this moment, he realized that in these 5 years, he'd fallen deeply in love with this woman. The first thing he'd wanted to do after being reborn was to help Nicole. He'd never thought of leaving her. He wanted Nicole to see the other side of him. He wanted her to know that he was not a good-for-nothing, that he could and would give her anything she wanted. But now, Nicole refused to give him a chance. She wanted to divorce him. Mark felt extremely disappointed. He stared at her in a daze. After a long time, the corner of his mouth suddenly revealed a trace of a cold smile. Then he said, "The one who made you decide to divorce me is that Sean, right?" Nicole was stunned. She felt a little ashamed. She couldn't deny that it was Sean's appearance that tipped her over the edge. It helped her make the final decision to divorce Mark, but she didn't want Mark to know that. Seeing that Nicole didn't speak, Mark said again, "In your opinion, that man is 1,000 times better than me, right? He's the heir to a big family, he's handsome, powerful, and rich. Most importantly, he's noble and refined, gentle and considerate. He was your first love, so after he reappeared, you fell for him all over again, didn't you?"
No, it's not because of him. Even if he didn't come to find me, I would have made this decision," Nicole said.
"Don't deny it, Nicole. It has been 5 years. Other people's mockery and insults didn't make you ask me for a divorce in all that time. But I didn't expect that you would do it because of Sean's appearance. It seems like I've overestimated you. I thought that even if I was a loser, over 5 years, you might also have developed some feelings for me. But I guess that never happened, if you can abandon me without hesitation the moment someone like Sean shows up."
Nicole's heart ached even more. Was she a heartless person? Was she going to abandon Mark just like that? Had she really not developed any feelings for him during the past 5 years? Mark suddenly laughed. Nicole looked at him blankly, not understanding what he was laughing about. Who could know? Mark's laughter had an indescribable bitterness, and at the same time, it also held a kind of ridicule toward Nicole.
"Nicole," Mark said, "do you really think that Sean is your true hero? Do you really think that he will treat you as gently as he looks on the surface?"
"What do you mean?"
Nicole asked. "Sometimes what you see on the surface is not necessarily true. When decisions concern the happiness of your whole life, you need to be extra careful. The love you think is perfect may not be as good as you think," Mark warned.
Nicole frowned. "What exactly are you trying to say?"
"Nothing." Mark didn't want to reveal Sean's true colors just yet. At this moment, when Nicole was determined to divorce him, if he said that Sean was not a good person, it would only make Nicole think that he was narrow-minded and trying to slander Sean. As for Sean's true colors, he would wait to let Sean show those to Nicole. Mark looked into Nicole's eyes and said carefully, "Nicole, I just want to tell you that the only person who can truly give you happiness is me."
"Actions speak louder than words," Nicole said, "and I haven't seen much from you in the way of actions."
"Okay, then I'll show you."
Mark approached Nicole step by step. Then he stopped when he was very close to her. He stared deeply into her eyes. Under his intense gaze, Nicole felt like a deer caught in headlights. She felt flustered yet frozen, and an indescribable feeling of oppression engulfed her.
What are you doing?"
Nicole couldn't help but step back, but just as she moved, Mark reached out and grabbed her by the shoulders.
"Nicole, you might think that I'm talking big, but what I want to tell you is that I'm the man destined to be in your life. I'm your true husband, and I'm the only one who can truly give you happiness. Just wait and see. You'll understand."
After saying these few words, Mark let go of Nicole. After giving her another deep look, he turned around and left. Nicole was stunned. She stared at Mark's back as he walked away. His eyes were so firm just now. Every word he said, every word was like a nail hammered into her heart.
She suddenly remembered that her father had said the same thing, that only Mark could give her true happiness in this life, so he would never allow his daughter to get a divorce. Nicole was left standing on the street, trying to cope with a deep sense of loss. Nicole called a taxi and rushed to her company. Her assistant, Anna, came over to welcome her. Anna noticed that Nicole looked sad.
What's wrong? You don't look too good.
It's nothing. Nicole placed the folder she was carrying on the desk and sat down. She used her hand to gently rub her temples. Anna walked over.
What's wrong? Why do you look so depressed? Do you have something on your mind?
Anna and Nicole had known each other for many years. On the surface, they were superior and subordinate, but in reality, they were close friends.
Miss Midler, I have to remind you, tonight will be the get-together between our company and Beauty Makeup. This is very important for us, so you need your head in the right place. You have to know that the get-together was specially prepared for you by Mr. Sean.
Thinking about the party Sean had planned, Anna felt very excited. Anna said,
Miss Midler, I envy you. I really didn't expect you to meet such a good man as Sean. The reason why Beauty Makeup is willing to work with us, a small company, is because of you. I also didn't know that you and Mr. Sean were past classmates. The way rich people chase women is amazing. I mean, he set up a company here just so he could meet you again. And tonight's party? On the surface, it's for the employees of both companies to mingle and get to know each other. But really, it's so he can announce to everyone that you're going to be his.
Anna grinned in her excitement.
So don't be sad, because you're about to become the happiest woman in the world.
Nicole felt inexplicably irritated when she heard Anna's words. Of course, she knew that the party tonight was because Sean wanted to take the opportunity to confess his love to her. Over the past few days, Sean had strengthened his pursuit of her, but Nicole was not ready for this step at all.
Anna, do you think I'm doing anything wrong?
Nicole asked. Anna looked at her boss.
How could you be doing anything wrong?
Should I not divorce Mark? Nicole asked. Anna's eyes widened.
Hey, you really decided to divorce him? That's great. I know that you're kind and you can't make up your mind whether it's a good idea or not, but that's sympathy. It's not love at all. Besides, it's been 5 years. You're worthy of more.
Nicole sighed. But today, when I mustered up my courage to ask him for a divorce, I saw his disappointment. But then his eyes became firm again. He even resolutely told me that he was the man I was destined to be with. He was the one who truly gave me happiness. I don't know why, but when he said that, my heart was very sad too. Anna said,
This man is useless. He only knows how to say good things, but what does he do? He was just begging you not to abandon him because he's a good-for-nothing. Once you divorce him, he'll even have a problem feeding himself. In the end, he only thinks of you as his meal ticket. Don't be touched by his pitifulness. You should have kicked him to the curb a long time ago. Besides, you have met your true love, Mr. Sean. You must seize the opportunity before it slips away. Miss Midler, listen to me. Stop hesitating. Hurry up and settle the divorce with that useless person. Then stay with Mr. Sean.
No, Nicole said and shook her head. The reason why I want to divorce Mark is not entirely because of Sean. In fact, I didn't even think about whether I should agree to Sean's request or not. Anna crossed her arms.
What is there to hesitate about? It is hard to find a good man like him. How many women queue up to throw themselves at him? But he has taken a fancy to you. This is your good luck.
Nicole became even more irritated. She waved her hand and sighed. Forget it. Let's not talk about it anymore. Anna walked to her side and said earnestly,
As your good friend, I'm sincerely doing this for your own good, Miss Midler.
She softened her voice.
Nicole, in the end, you're kind-hearted. But because of your kind-heartedness, that useless person has been dragging you down for 5 years. How many more years do you have to waste? Listen to me. Divorce Mark quickly. Tonight at the party, Sean will definitely confess his love to you. When the time comes, just accept it.
Nicole stared at her desk. I don't want to discuss this anymore. I need to be alone. Anna helplessly shook her head. She patted Nicole's shoulder and gave her a comforting look before walking out. At 9 o'clock in the evening, the grand party was held in the huge conference room on the top floor of the most luxurious hotel in the city, Destiny Pavilion. Red wine, delicious food, and cheerful staff wearing crisp outfits. All the employees of Nicole's and Sean's companies were all here. The party had not officially started yet, but various employees from both companies had gathered together and were talking animatedly among themselves. The employees from Beauty Makeup were gossiping on one side of the room. This party is really extravagant. Mr. Sean is really generous.
You probably don't know yet, but the reason why he is throwing such a big party is actually because of Miss Midler. Anyone can see that he likes her a lot.
I already know about this. I heard that Mr. Lund and Miss Midler were classmates in the past. The two of them had feelings for each other when they were in school. It is a pity that they didn't get together then. Now it seems that they have reconnected.
Oh, so that's how it is. I knew it. It's the only reasonable explanation for why a big company like Beauty Makeup would work with a small company like that.
Yeah, no wonder Mr. Lund hasn't gotten married in all these years. He doesn't even have a girlfriend. It turns out that he still wants Miss Midler.
But I heard that Miss Midler has a husband.
So what? Everyone knows that Miss Midler's husband is a wimp. The two of them have no relationship at all. Miss Midler's long wanted to divorce that good-for-nothing. Now that she has met Mr. Lund, she will definitely kick that good-for-nothing to the curb.
That's right. If I were Miss Midler, I would also choose Mr. Lund without hesitation.
The employees of Nicole's company were also talking quietly on the other side of the room. Hey, I heard that this party was specially prepared by Mr. Lund for Miss Midler, and tonight he is preparing to confess his love to her.
Wow, really? That is so romantic. I'm so envious of Miss Midler. It's hard to find a good man like Mr. Lund. He is handsome and rich, and he is gentle and considerate. I feel excited just thinking about it. If I could meet a man like that.
Come on, you're not as lucky as Miss Midler. But when Mr. Sean and Miss Midler get married, our company and Beauty Makeup will be one. With Beauty Makeup supporting us, our company will rise to the top. We can also bask in Miss Midler's glory. About half an hour later, the party officially began. The host first made an opening speech, then asked the representatives of the two companies to speak. It was nothing more than saying that in the future, the two companies would sincerely cooperate and work together to create a beautiful future. Then there was a cabaret act to liven things up for everyone. When the party was halfway through, the real show started. The host announced that the CEO of Beauty Makeup, Sean Lund, would go on stage to speak. When they heard that Sean was to speak, the audience immediately became silent. Everyone stared at the stage with their eyes wide, especially the female employees of both companies. As soon as Sean mounted the stage, the female employees cried out in surprise.
Wow, Mr. Sean is so handsome. He has such an aura. It's hard to imagine that such a handsome man would be so rich and gentle too. He's the perfect man. Sean is my Prince Charming. My heart is pounding. Oh my God. Stop dreaming. The person Sean likes is Miss Nicole. Sean wouldn't even look at people like us.
At this time, Nicole and Anna, her assistant, were sitting in the first row near the stage. Anna gently nudged Nicole with her elbow and said in a low voice,
Your Prince Charming is on stage. On the surface, he's speaking to everyone, but in fact, He's preparing to speak to you. Nicole, you have to be prepared.
Nicole was a little nervous. She was really afraid of what Sean would say. It would probably be very awkward because she really had not thought about whether she should agree to Sean's request or not. Seeing Nicole not saying anything and looking a little tense, Anna said again,
Relax. When Sean confesses his love to you later, you must promise him. Don't make him lose face.
By this time, Sean had already finished his opening speech. He spoke a little longer, and then he changed the topic. A broad smile bloomed on his face.
Today, we are holding this big party to let our employees get to know each other. We hope that our companies can work well together in the future, when the employees of our two companies will be one family. Next, I want to talk about a private matter.
When Sean said this, he couldn't help but look at Nicole.
Today, I want to take this opportunity to confess something special to a person I really like. Sean's face was full of affection.
Nicole sat below the stage and lowered her head. She was even more nervous. Anna said,
Look, Sean is ready to confess to you. He's looking at you. Wow, his eyes are so gentle.
The employees below started whispering again.
Wow, Sean is about to confess his love to Miss Midler. The exciting part is coming up.
If you like someone, you say it out loud, don't you?
Sean continued.
Actually, I've liked this person for a long time, starting in college. Unfortunately, I didn't have the courage to tell her at that time, so I missed my chance. Now that the heavens have allowed me to return to her side, I won't miss it this time. So today, I have decided to tell her in front of all of you.
Sean's tone was extremely gentle. After he said those words, rose petals suddenly floated down from the ceiling of the conference room. The rose petals seemed to fall from the sky, fluttering and soft, landing on everyone's heads and bodies. Everyone was stunned. It was so romantic. The fragrance of the rose petals made everyone envious. What a romantic scene! Then, gentle background music started playing. Sean's voice became even more tender under the soft music.
My heart can only calm down when I see her. It's like a small boat. Only by driving to that place can I safely dock. Although many years have passed, my love for her has not decreased. Instead, it has become stronger and stronger. I believe that this is true love. And today, I'll formally confess it to her and let her understand its depths.
At this point, the lights in the hall suddenly dimmed. Everyone was stunned for a moment. But right after that, the big screen behind Sean suddenly lit up. An image began to play on the screen. It was a clean and cozy university campus. A woman in a white dress was walking on a shady road with 2 books in her hands. Although this woman's face was young, everyone could still recognize that this woman was none other than Nicole. Anna exclaimed and raised her hand to touch Nicole, who was sitting beside her.
Nicole, quick, look at the big screen. Isn't that you?
Nicole looked up at the screen and was shocked. The young woman was indeed her, but it was her from university. When she was in university, Nicole was only 18 years old, the most beautiful age of her life. At the time, she was inexperienced compared to now, but she was even purer, especially when she was wearing a white dress like in the picture, and her long hair was fluttering in the wind. She was like a fairy descending from the sky. In the picture, Nicole was walking with light steps on a path in the shade. She happened to pass by a young man. The moment they brushed past each other, the two of them looked at each other and smiled. That boy was none other than Sean, who was also in college.
Oh my God, this is the scene of me carrying a book and walking down the path in the shade while I was in university. How could it be recorded? Nicole was very surprised. She didn't know that one of her occasional walks on the road during college had been recorded. As expected, Sean started talking again. He picked up the microphone, and his voice became even more gentle.
Nicole, do you remember our university days? At the time, we were just freshmen and didn't know each other. That time you brushed past me on the road near the school, you smiled at me. Perhaps it was just an unintentional action, but I remembered it for the rest of my life, because your smile is so beautiful. I couldn't forget it. So from that moment on, you have lived in my heart.
Sean said. Wow, so romantic, so touching. The employees were so moved that they could barely speak. They stared at the scene on the big screen. At that moment, the screen changed again. The scene changed to a library. A handsome young man was sitting at a table by the window, attentively reading a book. Not far away from him sat a young woman wearing a white dress. Needless to say, this young man was Sean, and this young woman was Nicole. Both of them were concentrating on their studies. Occasionally, they would raise their heads to look at each other, their faces filled with happiness. Along with the scene on the screen, Sean's voice rang out again.
Nicole, do you remember the library that we often went to? When I pushed open the door and saw you there for the first time, my heart calmed down. I sat there and read. I could see you as soon as I raised my head. How blissful my heart was. Nicole, I recorded these scenes of us meeting during our university days because I knew then that I wanted to record every single trace of you in my life and keep it in my heart forever.
As Sean spoke, he walked down from the stage to Nicole's side. Then Sean suddenly knelt on one knee and raised a diamond ring that he'd been holding in his hand and presented it to her. Nicole, I'm certain that you're the true love of my life, the person that I want to take care of and have by my side for my entire life. Nicole, in the past, I didn't have the courage to ask you, but now that I have been given this opportunity, I won't miss it again. Nicole, will you marry me? When Sean said the last sentence, all the employees in the conference room cried out in excitement. Wow, did you hear that? Sean actually proposed to Nicole. I thought he would confess his love to her first. I didn't expect him to just come out and propose to her. My God, this is the most romantic and touching proposal I've ever seen. Anna was also moved, and her tears trickled down her cheeks. Nicole was completely stunned. She sat there blankly and looked at Sean kneeling on one knee in front of her. Her mind was a mess. Nicole, it is the happiest thing in my life to love you. Marry me. Sean looked at her expectantly. Marry him! Marry him! The employees shouted in unison. The atmosphere in the room was tense with excitement. Sean held the diamond ring and knelt on one knee in front of Nicole, looking at her lovingly. The big screen behind him kept playing the scene of the two of them meeting each other at university. Petals kept falling from the ceiling, and the fragrance of roses filled the air. The employees kept chanting in unison, "Marry him! Marry him! Marry him!" Nicole was at a loss. Anna touched her arm and said, "My friend, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and say yes." Nicole saw Sean's gentle gaze and was shocked. Should she agree to his proposal? A thought flashed across Nicole's mind. The man who had just proposed to her was outstanding. Any other woman would marry him without hesitation. Nicole, marry me. I'll make you the happiest woman in the world, Sean said again. Nicole slowly stood up. For a moment, she really wanted to take the diamond ring from Sean and jump into his arms. But, at that moment, for some reason,
Mark's shadow suddenly appeared in her mind. She remembered Mark's disappointed look and words. "Are you really going to divorce me? Don't leave me, okay?" She remembered Mark's determined look and words. "Nicole, I'm the only man you're destined to be with. Only I can give you true happiness. Sometimes what you see on the surface is not necessarily true. Sometimes what you think is love is not true love." Mark's words kept echoing in Nicole's ears, so her heart became even more chaotic. Anna couldn't help being anxious for her and urged softly,
Nicole, what are you waiting for? Sean is proposing to you in front of everyone. It proves his sincerity. Quickly, say yes. This is a rare opportunity. Why are you hesitating? Are you still thinking about that wimp? The man in front of you is your true husband. You should grab him and never let go."
Just as Nicole was about to listen to the urging of Anna and the crowd and accept Sean, the big screen in front of them stopped moving and turned blank. The next second, the screen started playing again. But this time, the scene was not the warm and romantic scene where the two of them met each other. Instead, a naked man and woman suddenly appeared on the big screen. They were hugging each other tightly and doing something indescribable. Everyone was stunned for a moment. When everyone looked at the big screen, they were all shocked because they realized that the man was none other than their Prince Charming, the man who had just proposed to Nicole, Sean Lund. Nicole looked up and was stunned when she saw what was happening on the screen in front of her. People around her started chattering in surprise. "What's going on? Why did the screen change? Isn't that Sean? But that woman. That's that popular female celebrity from a few years ago."
Yeah, what's going on? What is Sean doing with that woman? Oh my God, did something go wrong? Why is Sean showing this to us?
At this moment, the scene changed again. It was still Sean, but with a different woman.
My God, I can't believe that is Sean. How could he propose to Nicole?
10 seconds later, the scene changed again. This time, it was truly unacceptable. He was with a young woman in her teens. The young woman was crying and begging him for mercy. This time, everyone was in an uproar. This was terrible. Originally, everyone had shouted loudly for Nicole to marry him, but now all their voices stopped. Everyone stared at the big screen with their eyes wide. Nicole and Anna were also stunned. For a moment, they couldn't figure out what was going on. The big screen had been playing the romantic scenes of Sean and Nicole in university. How did it change like this in the blink of an eye? The scenes changed one after another, each one more incriminating than the next. They were simply unbearable to watch. Sean had his back to the big screen. He was still down on one knee in front of Nicole, but he suddenly realized that the atmosphere in the room had changed. At first, he didn't care because his attention was all on Nicole. But gradually, he realized that something was wrong. It seemed that everyone was staring in surprise at the big screen behind him. Only then did Sean slowly turn around to look. What he saw made him cry out in surprise, because he saw the screen playing images of himself and young women. Sean was shocked. Of course, he knew the young woman in the image. She was an orphan he adopted a few years ago. On the surface, he helped and funded this young woman out of the goodness of his heart, but he kept her at home and never allowed her to go to school. But these things were extremely secretive. Sean, who had built himself a reputation as a good guy, naturally wouldn't let these things be discovered by others. His mind went blank when he realized that a secret he'd buried deep for years had been exposed at last. How was this possible? The scene of him and the young woman had actually been recorded by someone, and it was still playing for everyone to see. No, this couldn't be true. But the scene changed again. Everyone watched with their mouths agape. Damn it. Sean could no longer remain calm. He stood up and shouted crazily. What the hell is going on? I asked you to play the scene of me and Nicole meeting each other in school. Who asked you to play these things? Stop! Stop it now! But the images kept playing on the screen and made everyone furious. Nicole was deeply shocked, but she quickly understood what was going on. Although she didn't believe it, she couldn't deny it. Sean, you actually did this? What kind of pervert are you? Nicole shouted angrily. Sean ran to Nicole's side. Nicole, this is not true. You must not believe it. I didn't do it. I really didn't do it. This is a misunderstanding. A huge misunderstanding. Nicole said, Are you denying it? Isn't the person in the video you? Do you think everyone is blind? Sean, I really didn't expect you to be such a pervert. Children? I can't believe it. Nicole knew that she had been deceived. She flew into a rage and walked out. Seeing Nicole leave, Sean almost fell into despair. Everything he'd done today had gone to waste, so he became even more flustered and exasperated. He shouted loudly, Security! Where is security? A few security guards immediately ran over. Go to the projection booth and see who is playing these scenes. Find out who's trying to harm me. I'm going to tear him to pieces. Only then did the security guards realize that someone had got into the projection booth and deliberately changed the video. They quickly ran to the projection booth, only to find that there was no one there. It was too late. The damage was done, and whoever had done it had achieved their ends and escaped. At this time, the entire conference room was in chaos. All the employees were talking loudly in disbelief. All fingers were pointing at Sean. On the side of the road at the entrance of the Destiny Pavilion Hotel, Mark was smoking a cigarette while sitting in a car. A young man stood beside the car and said to Mark, Mr. Johnson, the matter has been settled. This young man was a wait person at the Destiny Pavilion Hotel. In the meeting room on the top floor of the hotel just now, the big screen had suddenly shown the video of Sean and different women rolling in bed. Mark had paid the wait person to do it. The Destiny Pavilion was Julius's property, so it was easy for Mark to gain access. He ordered one of the wait persons to help him complete the task. When Sean started to play the video of him and Nicole getting to know each other, the wait person quietly sneaked into the projection booth and inserted the USB that Mark gave him in advance into the projector. So everyone in the meeting room saw the video of Sean and different women. After the video was played, the wait person quickly pulled out the USB and slipped away. Mark sat in the car and watched everything that happened in the meeting room through a video link. He was very satisfied. He took the USB from the wait person and said, You did well. I'll tell Julius to promote you to lobby manager. Hearing this, the wait person couldn't hide his excitement and expressed his gratitude to Mark. Thank you very much, Mr. Johnson. Mark waved his hand and let the man leave. Then he used his phone to call a number. At this time, in the conference room, Sean was sitting on the floor with a depressed and hopeless look on his face. His phone rang. Sean picked up his phone, and Mark's voice immediately came from the speaker.
So, Sean, how was the show?
Mark said. Sean was stunned. What show? Who are you? How do you know my name? Mark shook his head and said sarcastically,
I never thought that the seemingly gentle Sean would have such an interesting side to him. He likes sex with different kinds of women of different ages and nationalities. That's fine. but not when you want to claim to love one woman. What's worse, though, is the young ones. Know what I mean? I didn't expect you to have such, should we call them desires? Whatever word we use, it's disgusting.
No matter how stupid Sean was, he understood what was going on. Damn it, stop playing tricks. Who exactly are you? How did you get those videos of me?
Don't worry about who I am. Worry about what else I might do to you. You just need to know. Don't steal other people's women. Nicole is off limits to you. If you or anyone else dares to touch her, then you will pay.
Mark said. Shameless, who the hell are you? If you have the guts to threaten me, you should do it face to face, not by hiding behind a phone. Who the hell do you think you are? Sean shouted angrily. Mark smiled and said,
I'm shameless? Sean, I can't possibly compete with you for shamelessness. How dare you use the guise of adoption sponsorship, forcing those underage children to do that kind of thing for you? You're despicable, Sean. Do you think that what you have done is untraceable? Those young women that you have damaged are so young and innocent. How dare you treat them like that? To deal with a despicable and shameless person like you, I can only use this despicable and shameless method, because you don't deserve to have me do it openly.
Sean was so angry that his face turned pale. He violently punched the floor and shouted at Mark on the other side of the phone, Don't let me catch you, or else I'll shred you into 1,000 pieces. Mark laughed and continued, Sean, you better not get angry. You better be calm in the future. If you dare to do anything reckless, I don't mind telling the world what you have done. I've kept all your videos and information safe. If I put them on the internet, well, I'm sure you can imagine the effect. You've spent so much time and effort crafting your good guy image, but if this gets generally known, your image will be destroyed, and your family will be greatly affected. So I believe that you will be smart and do the right thing. Sean sighed. He knew that what Mark said was right. Right now, the unsightly videos of him and those women were only played on the big screen of the meeting room. If those videos were posted online, then everything would hit the fan. Sean's image and reputation would go down the drain, and everyone would know what he did to those women. Damn, he might even go to jail. Although the Lund family had a lot of power, if this matter was exposed, it would anger the entire country, and his family wouldn't be able to protect him. What exactly do you want to do? Sean suppressed his anger and asked. I want you to get out of LA immediately. Take that beauty makeup company of yours and get out of here. Never come here again. Never see or speak to or contact Nicole again in any way. Also, immediately release those young women who you imprisoned and tortured, and give them compensation and somewhere to live. Do your best to make up for your crimes. Lastly, don't even think about taking revenge on me, even if you find out who I am. Otherwise, I don't mind destroying you, Sean, and your entire family. Don't think that this is an idle threat. If you don't believe me, we can give it a try. After saying that, Mark hung up the phone decisively. A smile appeared on his face. He could imagine Sean's angry and helpless look. I like the way you don't like me, but you can't get rid of me, Mark thought to himself. If Sean was smart, he would definitely not come and cause trouble for Mark. Sean could only admit that he was unlucky and had been defeated. Speaking of which, Mark still had to thank Marcy for her help in this matter. If it wasn't for the video materials she gave him, things wouldn't have been so perfect. After hanging up the phone, Mark suddenly saw a woman running out of the hotel. After taking a closer look, Mark realized it was his wife, Nicole. Nicole had always regarded Sean as her Prince Charming. That was because she didn't know Sean's true character. She was deceived by the false persona that Sean projected. And now, Nicole suddenly realized what she thought of this Prince Charming. It turned out that he was just a wolf in sheep's clothing. On the surface, he looked gentle and tender, but underneath... At first, she simply couldn't accept it, but she had seen the video with her own eyes, and she knew the unsavory truth. So at this moment, she was very depressed. She was angry, helpless, and at the same time, very disappointed. She didn't expect Sean to be such a person. He'd actually attacked those underage women. He was simply inhuman. Seeing Nicole leave, Mark didn't chase after her. He shook his head and said to himself, "Nicole, I know you're very sad and disappointed, but I had no choice. I had to let you see Sean's true colors. I believe that one day you will understand that only I, Mark, am worthy of being your man. I'm your real Prince Charming." Nicole left the Destiny Pavilion and returned home in a daze. It was already past 11 o'clock at night. As soon as she walked into the living room, Tia welcomed her. She said happily,
My good daughter, you're back. Is the party over?" Yes. I know Sean organized a party especially for you tonight. And I heard from Anna that he was going to confess his love to you at the party. Wonderful. Sean was willing to declare his love to you in front of so many people, which means that he really likes you. So, how did it go? Did Sean tell you he loves you, or even propose to you? If someone like Sean proposed to you, he would definitely do it with a big diamond ring. Nicole, did Sean give you a diamond ring? Hurry up and show it to Mom.
Nicole was already extremely irritated before she heard her mother blabbering on and on. She suddenly shouted, "Shut up! Stop pestering me!" Tia was instantly stunned. "Mom, can you let me be alone for a while?" Nicole asked. Only then did Tia realize that something was not right. She saw that her daughter's face was a little pale, so she quickly asked, "Oh, Nicole, what happened? Why is your face so white? You should be happy today. Didn't Sean confess his love to you at the party? Did he not propose to you?" "Stop mentioning Sean to me," Nicole shouted again. "What's wrong? Why can't I mention Sean? Did you two fight? Could it be? Could it be that Sean didn't confess his love to you at the party?" Tia sighed. "What happened? The last time I talked to him, he promised me that he would definitely confess his love to you and propose to you in the near future. I have to call him. I have to ask him what exactly is going on." Tia took out her phone as she spoke. Nicole snatched her mother's phone away. She flung herself down on the sofa and said, "What number are you calling? Who asked you to call him? Who asked you to butt in? I'll say it again. Don't mention Sean in front of me ever again. Keep your nose out of my business." Tia was completely dumbfounded. Nicole had always been obedient and gentle, but today she was neither. What had happened? Nicole couldn't be bothered to explain anything to her mother. She turned around and went into her bedroom and slammed the door shut. Tia was stunned. Then she heard a cold laugh coming from the front door. She turned her head and saw that Mark had come in. Mark had arrived a few moments before and stood at the door to watch the conversation between Tia and Nicole. His foolish mother-in-law actually wanted to call Sean. She really thought she was smart, but it was useless to call him. A cold smile appeared on Mark's face. Tia seemed to think of something when she saw Mark. She raised her hand and pointed at Mark and scolded him loudly. "Wretch, what are you laughing at? My daughter's life has been ruined. You're happy about that, aren't you? I understand. You must be responsible. Last time in the Western restaurant, you deliberately told Sean that my daughter is pregnant with your twins. What twins? You shameless bum. It must be you who caused trouble today, which is why there is a misunderstanding between my daughter and Sean. That's why she's so angry, isn't it?" The more Tia spoke, the angrier she got. She stomped across the room to where Mark was standing and raised a hand to hit him.
You wimp! Just what kind of heart do you have? You have been a burden to my daughter for 5 years. Isn't that enough? And you want to drag her down for the rest of her life? You just can't see how good she is. The happiness of 2 good people has been ruined by your interference. I'll beat you to death.
But just as Tia reached out her hand, Mark grabbed her wrist. Mark was very strong. Tia couldn't help but cry out in pain.
Damn it, you actually dare to attack me? Let go of me.
Mark stared into Tia's eyes. He said word by word, "Stop dreaming. Do you think your daughter will ever marry another man in this lifetime?" Tia's eyes widened.
What do you mean?
Don't you understand what I mean? All right. If you really don't understand, then I might as well say it clearly. Listen up. Nicole is my wife. She has been married to me for 5 years. No matter what happened in the past, no matter what happens in the future, we will never divorce. I can't find another woman, and she can't find another man. Mark slowed his speech and emphasized each word. Your daughter can only have one man in her life, and that man is me. I'll never leave her, and I'll never let her go. If there are other men who want to seduce her, I'll do whatever it takes to chase those men away. If there is one, I'll chase one. If there are 2, I'll chase a pair. Do you hear me clearly? Do you understand? After saying that, Mark dropped her wrist. Tia angrily shouted,
Damn you, you piece of trash! You're planning to drag my daughter down for the rest of her life.
Mark shrugged and said, If you think that I'm dragging her down, then I'm dragging her down. Whatever. Mark thought, I'm going to make you die of anger. In these 5 years, Tia had never treated him like a person. If his perceived misdemeanor was small, she would ridicule him. If it was big, she would beat and scold him. But that was all in the past. In the future, if Tia dared to talk nonsense in front of Mark again, he wouldn't be polite. Mark's move made Tia so angry that her whole body trembled. She didn't dare to attack again when she found that her useless son-in-law was prepared to rebel a little. If Mark really rebelled, then she didn't know what she would do. She was so angry that she took a deep breath, pointed at the door, and shouted loudly,
Get lost! Get out of here!
Mark said, I can get lost, but remember, I will come back. After that, Mark slammed the door and left. Actually, he just wanted to take a breather and give Nicole some space. He knew that after the events of this evening, she must be very depressed. It would be better to let her alone for a while. Mark had just walked to the end of the road when a person stopped in front of him, giving him a scare.
Hey, it's me. What's wrong? Don't you know him?
A woman stood in front of him. She was wearing white sportswear, and her short hair made her look athletic. Mark took a closer look and thought he recognized her. Wasn't this the police officer from before, the one called Officer Worth? Mark frowned slightly and looked Officer Worth up and down. The last time he saw her, she was wearing a police uniform. She looked valiant and professional then, but today she was wearing casual clothes. She looked a little cute. Mark almost didn't recognize her. Officer Worth? Mark was very surprised. It's late. What are you doing here?
I'm looking for you,
Officer Worth said. Mark was surprised. Looking for me? We don't really know each other. Why are you looking for me? Besides, how did you know that I live here?
Don't forget I'm a cop. If I want to find out where you live, it's a piece of cake.
Officer Worth smiled. Mark was a little confused. So, why are you looking for me? I didn't do anything wrong, did I? Officer Worth shook her head.
If you really did do something wrong, I wouldn't have waited for you here. I would have cuffed you and taken you away. All right, relax. I'm not here looking for you in my professional capacity. I'm here looking for you as a friend.
Friend? Mark cleared his throat. We've only met once, so we can't be considered friends.
Officer Worth said, Why not? Anyway, I already think of you as a friend. Who asked you to be so capable? You solved the fish venom incident at LAU and challenged our captain. Awesome.
You seem to be very happy about it.
Officer Worth said seriously. Captain Jones is good at everything. He is especially good at police work, but he is too arrogant and doesn't care about anyone but himself. He has an excellent record and is justifiably proud of his achievements, but he takes it too far. Even our director can't do anything with him. Well, now that you've slapped him down, there's nothing more for him to boast about. In the future, his arrogant attitude will be much more restrained. Also, Captain Jones is very stubborn. I admit that he's solved many major cases, but there are some that can't be explained by science because they are related to supernatural events, but he refuses to believe in such things.
Stop. Mark interrupted. You didn't come to find me today to complain about your Captain Jones to me, did you?
Of course not. I've got something important to talk to you about,
Officer Worth said. What can I do for you? Mark asked. Officer Worth looked around and lowered her voice. She said mysteriously,
Captain Jones doesn't believe in supernatural events, but I do. I'm a member of a paranormal detective agency. Recently, something strange happened in the Dragon Bay area of LA. There's a large piece of land there. It used to be a graveyard for an urban housing project. After the demolition of the buildings, some developers bought the graveyard and arranged to have the bodies moved elsewhere so they could build new apartments on the site. All the graves were opened and emptied except one. No one has claimed this one and no family members can be found. So when the developers wanted to begin work, this one was in the way. He decided to hurry things along and dig up the grave himself, but strange things began to happen. A few people even died.
Officer Worth paused to let her words sink in before she continued.
In the end, the developer was scared and didn't dare to touch that grave again, so the piece of land could only be abandoned because that grave was right in the middle, and there was no way to start construction. Later on, some other developers asked some paranormal experts to come and help, but even though many came, none of them could do anything. One of them even died after he touched the grave. Later on, they invited Master Zachariah, Zachariah Zeus, who was at LAU last time. Master Zachariah did have some ability. He opened the grave, and guess what was in it? A transparent coffin. This coffin was old and sinister, and there was even a line of words carved on it. After seeing the line of words, Master Zachariah was so scared that he turned around and left. He even shouted that he had caused a huge disaster. Everyone was so scared that they filled in the grave immediately. Now, no one dares to touch that piece of land in Dragon Bay anymore. It was abandoned there just like that. That place is now filled with dense evil energy. No one dares go there during the day, let alone at night. It's a pity that such a good piece of land has been abandoned like that. As for me, I've made a decision. I want to investigate what exactly is going on with that grave. That's why I came to find you.
Mark said. If you want to investigate, then go ahead. Why are you looking for me?
Because you're an expert, a master, Officer Worth said. With you around, I'm more confident.
Actually, Officer Worth originally wanted him to secretly investigate the grave because it involved supernatural events. Her captain, Captain Jones, didn't support her idea at all. He said that she was just messing around. So, she could only secretly investigate by herself. But she was worried that if she went to the gloomy Dragon Bay alone in the middle of the night, something might happen to her and no one would know. When she witnessed Mark's strength at LAU, she had decided to ask him to go with her. She felt that with his abilities, he should be able to solve the problem there. Mark shook his head and said, "You are a police officer. It's natural for you to want to investigate this matter, but what does it have to do with me? I've got no interest in it."
Don't be in a hurry to reject it. Because of this problem, this piece of land has been abandoned. It has affected the development of the city. Even the mayor is anxious. If you can solve this problem, then you will have made a great contribution. Also, if you solve this problem, your reputation will be spread even wider. Everyone in LA will know that you're a true master. Your reputation will surpass Zachariah Zeus's, and you will gain both fame and fortune. So, why not?
Mark smiled and said, "Fame and fortune are not that important to me. Listen, I've got a lot of things on my plate at the moment, so I don't have time to deal with any supernatural incidents. You should go and find someone else." After saying that, Mark walked on and crossed the road. Officer Worth chased after him.
Hey, think about it carefully. I'm pretty sure only you can solve this problem.
Mark kept walking. "I've said it before, I'm not interested." At that moment, Mark's phone rang. He took out his phone and saw that it was his mother-in-law calling. He didn't want to answer, but the phone rang again and again, which annoyed him. He could only press the answer button. His mother-in-law's tiger-like voice immediately came from the other side.
"Mark, where are you? Come home quickly."
Mark said, "Didn't you tell me to get lost just now? Why are you asking me to come back?"
"Do you think I want to ask a useless person like you to come back? Someone is looking for you. Cut the crap and come back quickly."
After saying that, Tia hung up the phone. Mark frowned. "Someone is looking for me? Who would be looking for me at such a late hour?" He decided to go home to take a look. Officer Worth looked at his back as he left and anxiously shouted,
Hey, think about it carefully. I'll wait for your answer.
After Mark received a call from his mother-in-law, he hurried back home. When he opened the door, he found that there were some people in the living room. In addition to his mother-in-law and father-in-law, there was also a woman who looked to be in her 60s, a middle-aged man who was probably in his 40s, and an older man in a wheelchair. Mark was stunned. Why were there people in the house at this hour? It was midnight after all, and where had they come from? They certainly hadn't been there when he'd gone out a short while ago. Tia improved her bad attitude when she saw Mark. She pointed to the older woman and said,
Mark, come and see who's here. You remember Wanda, don't you? She is the one who fainted while we, my friends and I, were playing bridge before.
Mark saw that it was indeed Wanda Wyatt, who had been playing bridge with his mother-in-law when she had a heart attack. Mark had saved her with the energy return infusion.
This is Wanda's son, and this is Wanda's husband.
Tia pointed at the middle-aged man and the older man sitting in the wheelchair and introduced them. Mark went forward and greeted them politely. He wondered to himself why Wanda's family had come to the house in the middle of the night. Were they looking for him? Tia said,
Mark, the energy return infusion that you gave Wanda worked very well. But now Wanda's husband's health is not good. The family came to find you tonight because they hope you can give the energy return infusion to Wanda's husband. Perhaps it can cure him.
Mark immediately understood what was going on. After he used the energy return infusion to save Wanda, Wanda said that her old partner's health was also not good, especially his back injury. The pain was unbearable. Wanda hoped that she could buy a few bags of the energy return infusion from Mark, but Mark had refused because Wanda and the others playing bridge had followed Tia's lead and treated Mark very badly. Later, Wanda also asked Tia to ask Mark for some energy return infusion, but he rejected that request too. And today, Wanda's family had actually come to ask in the middle of the night. Wanda approached Mark and said apologetically,
Mark, I know that you're a person with real ability. After taking your energy return infusion, I have completely recovered. You're a brilliant doctor. I know you're very busy, but I have an important thing to ask you. Look at my husband. He's only 65 years old, but his body has already become like this.
Wanda sighed and pointed at the old man sitting in the wheelchair.
He worked too hard when he was young, and his body was overworked. That's why his back is almost paralyzed, even though he's only in his 60s. His brain is about to shut down, and he suffers from pain every day. It's better to die than to live like this. That's why I'm begging you, please save my husband.
Mark looked at the old man who was half sitting, half lying paralyzed in the wheelchair. His eyes were half closed and lifeless. He looked half dead already. After Mark had rejected Wanda's other two requests, she actually brought the old man to Mark's house to beg him for help. The middle-aged man standing next to her, Wanda's son, stepped forward and said to Mark, "Mr. Johnson, I heard from my mother that you gave her some energy return infusion and that you completely cured her illness. Young man, you saved her life. Please, help save my father too." This middle-aged man was tall and had an extraordinary persona. He had a square face, stood upright, and seemed to be filled with righteousness. Tia whispered to Mark,
Wanda's son is the chief of police. He's come here in person to ask for your help, so don't waste time putting on airs. Hurry up and get some of that energy return infusion of yours.
Mark was stunned. It turned out that this middle-aged man with a mighty figure was the chief of police. This middle-aged man in front of him was Captain Jones's and Officer Worth's boss. No wonder he looked so impressive. Mark looked at the old man in the wheelchair again. Although the old man was skinny and frail, Mark could still see that when he was young, he must have had an extraordinary and powerful physique. Mark said, "Let me ask, what did this old man do when he was young? How did he make his body like this?" The middle-aged man said, "My father was a policeman for decades. He went from a minor police officer to the head of the force. 7 years ago, a 4-year-old child was kidnapped and held hostage. The kidnappers were crazy. The situation was very urgent, and the child was in a very dangerous situation. My father stepped up and took the initiative to exchange himself for the child. The kidnappers demanded $5 million in a helicopter. Then they took my father to the helicopter. My father fought fiercely with them. In the end, he took care of all the robbers by himself, but he was seriously injured, especially his back, which was beaten by the kidnapper with steel bars. From then on, his back became worse day by day. After he retired, I took him to many big hospitals, and he was examined by many famous doctors, but as you can see, there was little they could do for him." Wanda's son sighed. "I heard from my mother that you are an incredible expert with herbs, and you have some amazing medicines. That's why I'm taking the liberty of asking you for help. Please, help my father. He's in so much pain. Give him some of your special medicine. I'll pay whatever you want." Mark waved his hand and said, "I don't deserve to be called an expert in medicine. Actually, my medicine isn't some kind of miracle cure, but it shouldn't be a problem for me to cure your father's illness." Upon hearing this, Wanda and her son were delighted. "So you'll do it? You'll help him?" Mark nodded. Wanda had begged him to do this before, but Mark had refused because Wanda's rude words had made him unhappy. But in fact, he didn't really care. Although he was not a doctor, he wanted to use his medicine to save people. What he did was exactly the same as what a doctor did. "Thank you so much, Mark." The middle-aged man expressed his gratitude from the bottom of his heart. Mark said, You don't have to thank me. I'm only going to save your father because of his heroism. Your father was badly injured saving a child, so I believe that I have a duty to help him. Those who save should be saved. Mark took a bag of energy return infusion from his pocket. You can give this energy return infusion to your father now. Because his body is weak and his breathing is compromised, he's on the verge of running out of energy. This energy return infusion will help him.
Energy return infusion? This is the energy return infusion that pulled me back from the brink of death. It is the same miracle medicine,
Wanda said excitedly when she saw the bag.
Quick, son, give it to your father.
So the mother and son hurriedly gave the energy return infusion to the old man in the wheelchair. The old man's body was weak, his mind was confused, and his consciousness was somewhat fuzzy. But after consuming the energy return infusion, in less than half an hour, the old man's eyes began to focus. His body relaxed, and the pained expression on his face also became much less. In the end, his mind also gradually became clear. The old man first closed his eyes, then opened them again. He looked around and said in confusion, "Where am I?" Seeing that his father's blurry consciousness had actually awakened, the middle-aged man, Greg Wyatt, and his mother were wild with joy. "A miracle! It really is a miracle! My father's mind has been blurry for a long time, but now he's woken up. It has only been half an hour. This energy return infusion really is a miracle cure." Greg shook his head in wonder. Mark said, "This energy return infusion only gathers his energy, but his worst injury is to his back. How about this? I have some recovery infusion with me." As Mark spoke, he took out 3 bags of recovery infusion from his pocket. "Starting from tomorrow, give the old man 1 bag a day and take it for 3 days in a row. The old man's back injury should be mostly healed after that." Greg Wyatt excitedly took the recovery infusion from Mark because he had the magical evidence of the energy return infusion. So now he had no doubts about the efficacy of the recovery infusion. He had great hopes that his father's back injury would be cured. "Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Or may I call you Mark?" "Thank you, Mark. How much do I owe you?" Greg asked. Mark waved his hand and said, "This medicine can be expensive, but it can also be free of charge. It all depends on the person. You just said that he became like this because he was saving people. Now I have saved him because he earned it. What goes around comes around. I don't want your money." The mother and son looked at each other in shock. Such a miraculous medicine for free? "No, Mark, no matter what, I can't take your medicine for free. I have to give you something for saving my father's life. Please, give me a price." Mark waved his hand again and interrupted him. "This medicine is for your father, and I won't accept a single cent. You don't have to say any more, but it's late and you should take him home to rest. How about this? I'll prepare some medicine to strengthen his body. Come back in 3 days and pick up the medicine for him. I guarantee that it will strengthen his body and prolong his life." "Thank you. Thank you so much, Mark." As he spoke, Greg removed a business card from his pocket and handed it to Mark. "As the chief of police, I cannot do anything against the law, but if there's anything I can do for you, I'll do my best. This business card has my work number and my personal number on it. If you need anything in the future, just call me." 3 days later, Mark had gotten some expensive herbs from Marcy. After refining some energy return infusion and giving some to Red and Marcy as usual, Mark had enough to give some more to Greg Wyatt's father, the retired police chief, Patrick Wyatt. Right now, Mark was walking alone beside the road. He took out his phone and was about to call Greg to tell him the medicine was ready to pick up. Mark had just taken his cell phone out of his pocket, but before he could make a call, he saw that the road in front of him was bustling with activity. There was a large group of people surrounding something, and it seemed like something had happened. Mark frowned. He was not a person who liked to stick his nose in, but when he heard the noise in front of him getting louder and louder, he walked forward to investigate. He squeezed into the crowd and saw an Audi X5 parked on the road. There was a young woman sitting in the car, and in front of the car, a young man was lying on the ground, holding one of his legs and shouting loudly, "It hit me! The car hit me!" His voice was extremely loud. After he shouted, the pedestrians on the road quickly surrounded him. Some people shouted at the young woman sitting in the car, "Hurry up and get out! You hit someone! Do you know that you hit someone?" The door of the vehicle opened, and the young woman got out. She was about 25 or 26 years old, and was wearing a black office suit. She looked very capable, and also quite pretty. This woman was none other than Nicole's secretary, Anna. Anna was really unlucky today. Very early, before the sun was up, she felt a little sick. Because she had work to do, she took some medicine. But she wasn't hungry, so she didn't have breakfast before she headed out. But then she hit someone on the road after being dizzy. But Anna wasn't a fool. She had clearly seen that just as her car was about to turn left, a man suddenly rushed out from that side and crashed into her car. Anna was shocked and instinctively hit the brakes, but the man had already fallen to the ground and was screaming. Anna had been driving for many years and was an experienced driver. She realized that her car didn't hit the man at all, but he still fell to the ground crying out loudly, looking like he was seriously injured. Anna was a little nervous, so she hesitated and didn't get out of the car right away. But the people who were watching by the side of the road all shouted for her to get out. Feeling helpless, she could only open the car door and do as she was told. Anna walked over and spoke to the young man lying on the ground.
"Hey, are you all right?"
"Am I all right? What do you think? Do I look like I'm all right? Oh, damn, it hurts so much. My leg is probably broken, and you're responsible." The man kept cursing as he shouted in pain. The people around him pointed at him, but no one dared to step forward to help. Anna gritted her teeth, thinking that she was really unlucky, but she braced herself and prepared to help the man up.
"Where are you hurt? Is it serious?"
The man pushed Anna's hand away and covered one of his legs with a pained expression on his face. "My leg is broken. What kind of driver are you? Didn't you see me when you turned the corner?" Anna said,
"It was a normal left turn. No one was there, and I didn't break the law. You're the one who jumped in front of me and fell down, so don't blame me."
The man grimaced and growled out, "You clearly hit me, yet you still want to argue and blame me for the accident? You're saying I deserve to be hit by you, right? Ouch, it hurts so much. This is really unfair. Is driving an expensive car really so great that you think you can avoid responsibility after hitting someone? Are you rich people that special?" The man kept shouting and cursing in front of so many people. Anna wished she could find a hole to hide in. She knew that even if the man was really a blackmailer, she wouldn't be able to do anything to him because there was no evidence. Anna said,
"How about this? I'll take you to the hospital."
The man said, "Then take me to the orthopedic clinic. Damn, it hurts so much. I think it's really broken."
"There are 2 or 3 community hospitals near here. We should go to one of them. The orthopedic clinic is way on the other side of the city, and I'm already late for work."
Anna said, "No, I want to go to the orthopedic clinic. They're experts. You were in the wrong and you owe me. I don't care how late you are for work," the man shouted. Anna understood what he meant. If she took him to the orthopedic clinic, Anna would probably have to pay a huge sum of money. Plus, the drive there and back would take more than half a day. Anna didn't have time to waste here. After thinking for a while, she said,
"Since you don't want to go to the nearest hospital, and I don't have much time, why don't we settle this privately then? How much do you want?
The man said, "You broke my leg. How much do you think that's worth?" Anna said,
How about this? I'll give you $5,000. Then you can get someone to take you to the hospital of your choice, and I can be on my way.
5,000? The man looked furious. What are you trying to do? This is one of my legs we're talking about, and you want to palm me off with $5,000? Anna frowned.
Then how much do you want?
At least $50,000, the man said. $50,000. Anna was speechless. Although she looked like a white-collar worker and she drove a decent car, in reality, she was just an office worker. After all, Nicole's company was only a small business, and Anna was buying her Audi in installments. She hadn't finished paying for it yet. She had to pay a car loan of $3,000 every month. So she was not the rich person that the man thought she was. You drive an Audi and hit someone with it, and you think you can get away with only $5,000 in compensation? In your dreams, lady. I want at least $50,000. There was a trace of a hidden smile as the man looked at her. The surrounding people discussed the situation animatedly. Anyone could see that the young man was obviously making things up. Some people who understood the situation said in a low voice, "This guy's done this kind of thing before. I've heard of him in this area." Someone said,
I also saw it. This man is clearly extorting people. If his leg is really broken, why doesn't he want to go to the nearest hospital? He just asked her to give him $50,000.
Another person chimed in, "This man is detestable. He actually blackmailed that poor woman in broad daylight." The first person said, "What can we do? This man's name is Simon Aylward, and he has a group of people behind him. He specializes in this kind of thing, and he specifically does it on roads without cameras. He hides until someone with an expensive car comes along, and then he jumps in front of them and pretends that they hit him. Most people think it's easier to pay him off than risk trouble, so they pay what he asks."
Damn, this guy is detestable. Why doesn't anyone stop him?
The second person asked. "Someone did call the police, but I heard that Simon has friends on the force. He was arrested, but the charges didn't stick and he was basically released after just a few days, and then he just carried on blackmailing. Moreover, he and his buddies went after the person who called the police, and he ended up in the hospital. There's no way to deal with him." The surrounding people weren't fools. They could tell that Simon Aylward was trying to blackmail Anna, but no one dared to say another word. Since Simon dared to try the same scam again and again, he must have some powerful friends. If anyone offended him, they risked his anger and revenge. It just wasn't worth it. No one wanted to pay the price for doing a good deed. Anna understood that this guy wanted to blackmail her. She didn't want to give him $50,000. Just thinking about it made her heart ache. After all, it was not easy for her to earn money. Why should she let this guy get away with it? Anna also had a stubborn streak. She said,
You want $50,000 because you flung yourself in front of my car. This is clearly extortion. Who knows if your leg is broken or not? Anyway, the most I'll give you is $10,000. If you don't want it, then just call the police.
When the man heard that, he immediately shouted at the top of his lungs, "Listen up, everyone. This woman hit me, and now she wants to avoid paying for her crime. She wants to send me away with only $10,000. How cheap is that? And then she threatens me with the police? All right, then report it. We'll see who's afraid of who." A woman in the crowd came forward to remind Anna kindly,
Miss, you must not call the police. This person has a group of forces behind him. They are a group of people who don't care about anyone's life. Even if they're arrested, they'll still be free in a few days, and then they'll take revenge on you. They have the power to ruin your life." Another middle-aged woman also said kindly, "That's right. This person is shameless. He's not to be trifled with. The last time he did this, someone called the police, but in the end he got his revenge in a few days. The person who reported him was beaten very badly. Miss, it's better to avoid trouble. If you can, just give him what he's asking for and solve your problem." Anna knew that these two women were trying to be kind, but she was not willing to give a blackmailer $50,000. But she clearly knew that he was trying to blackmail her, so she had to give him money. No matter how she thought about it, she wasn't happy. At this moment, a few people suddenly squeezed in from outside the crowd. These young men were in their 20s. They were wearing jeans with holes in them. After they arrived, they said to Simon, who was still lying on the ground,
"Si, what's wrong with you? When we heard that you were hit by a car, we came as fast as we could. Are you all right?"
When Simon saw that his accomplices had arrived, he immediately became more arrogant. Simon said,
"It's good that you guys have come. Listen to this. I was just walking on the road, minding my own business, when this woman came flying out of nowhere and hit me. I asked her to take me to the orthopedic clinic, but she refused. I'm pretty sure my leg is badly broken. Do you think it's too much to ask for $50,000 from her?"
When the delinquents heard this, they immediately turned their eyes to Anna.
"It was you who bumped into our bro? Don't you have eyes? What kind of driver are you? Do you think you're so special you don't have to compensate him? Think again, lady." "Don't waste your breath talking to her," Simon said. "She'll either pay me $50,000 today or take me to the orthopedic clinic."
Anna was so angry that she gnashed her teeth. She understood that these people were on Simon's side and had colluded with him. You're clearly blackmailing me. Why should I give you $50,000? Anna said. One of Simon's friends stepped up to Anna menacingly.
"Oh, you think you can just drive your car into people and get off without paying? You hit our buddy and feel wronged when he asks for compensation? Tell you what, how about this? We don't want a single cent. You just stand here and let us break one of your legs, okay?"
You're going too far, Anna stammered.
"You think we're going too far?" Simon's friend asked. "So what? What can you do about it? Either you pay up or go to the orthopedic clinic, or we break one of your legs. Your choice. Of course, if you want to call the police, that's fine too. But don't blame us for not reminding you that if you call the police, it won't do you any good. In fact, you'll probably regret it big time."
Anna really didn't want to waste any more time with this bunch of hooligans, so she decided to accept her bad luck. "All right, I'll give you $50,000, Anna said, treating it as money to solve the problem. Hearing this, Simon and the others immediately smiled.
"Wouldn't it have been better if you had just done this in the first place? $50,000 is nothing to you rich people. Why waste your time arguing? Hurry up and get the money. When we have it, we can get Si the best medical help available."
Simon and his friends laughed. Seeing that their conspiracy had succeeded, Anna fumed, but she still took out her phone and prepared to transfer $50,000 to them. But at this moment, someone pushed the crowd aside and said loudly, "You can't give them money." Everyone looked at this person. He was a young man in his 20s. He wasn't tall and sturdy, but he had an imposing manner. His face wasn't handsome, but he had a different kind of charm. This man was none other than Mark. He'd witnessed the whole thing. Mark said to Anna, "You can't give them $50,000. Anna was stunned, and so were the other onlookers. Simon and the others said angrily, "Who the hell are you? Mind your own business. Get lost."
Mark looked at Simon and the others, and finally fixed his eyes on Simon. At this moment, Simon was still lying in front of the Audi, and he was still clutching one of his legs. Mark knew exactly what these people were doing, but he didn't let on. Instead, he walked to Simon and said, "One of your legs is broken? Is it really that serious?"
Simon cursed, thinking, "Where did this guy come from? He could ruin everything.